and welcome back to Rebooked, the show where we talk about the men and women who are walking in the middle of the square circle and they're slapping meat in the middle of the ring and telling stories in the process. I'm JB. You got Matt. You got Jake. We're back, all in full power. You know, Matt, he was responsible. He had to go work, you know,
God
whatever
forbid.
that means. You know,
I know.
God. But you were good, Matt. Yes. How was it?
Was that a question?
Yes, you were good.
You
Yes,
were
Matt.
good. Yes, Matt. Good. How was it?
You were
yes.
good. Yes. Yeah.
No, it was it was good. 2 days at TNA and then I did an independent show after that. But I had Emergence live this week, which was a pretty good show. We were down in Louisville, Kentucky. I always love being in bourbon country, and I shared with you guys. I had a friend of mine who came to the show, and a whiskey guy, a guy who I met through that hobby. And he texts me before the show, right as I sit down for the pre-show. He's like, "I'm at the bar. You want anything?" And so in total jest, you know, I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Give me a double of this." Not 2 minutes later, I'm looking at my notes, and over the guardrail, I see this little plastic cup plop down on the desk.
Oh no!
And he's just like, and he walks away. But I was good. I was responsible.
Okay.
And I didn't enjoy until the main event bell rang.
You didn't partake until you absolutely were in the clear. That's usually how I am.
God, yes.
With weed. It's the same exact way. Like, although one time I did have an issue where I was supposed to show up to work. I didn't know. I didn't see it on my calendar. And then I'm getting calls and they're like, "Yo, where are you?" And I was like, "Oh shit." Cause I woke up in the morning and I was like, you know, I just figured I had a day off. I was like, "Oh, I'm going to enjoy the hell out of this day. About to make a name for myself right here." And then ended up having to go into work utterly just inebriated, but played it off very well. I don't think anyone knew.
That's all that matters.
They knew. They 100% knew. All right. Well, guys, lots to talk about today. And look, we're sandwiched with events. There was
I had a good weekend.
So much happening.
What the fuck?
Jake, I mean, how are you
No,
Jake?
no. We're done. We're past it. This weekend was Bash at Berlin.
I'm sorry, Jake. I'm so sorry. How was your weekend, buddy?
Do the fucking thing. No, we're over. Do the thing at the bottom.
Did you play more? Did you watch the college football?
Of course I watched the college football. I watched a lot of college football. Alabama won. That's all that matters.
Alabama won. Let's go.
63 to nothing. It was awesome.
That's no way. 63 to nothing?
Yeah, 63 to nothing.
Good God.
Yeah,
Were they
playing children?
Western Kentucky with Big Red. Remember our 24/7 champion?
Yeah, Big Red.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the blob thing?
Yeah. I sent that picture.
Let's go.
There's a picture of him. I sent it in the general on our Discord. Go join our Discord.
Yes.
Of you can see him one time when we're scoring, just standing on there holding his hands up like, what the fuck?
Hold on. I'm going to see if I can find it real fast. Oh,
it's so good.
I didn't realize
so terrifying.
Yeah. Oh, I see the picture. Oh, this is so good.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. See if I can open this real fast. Oh, this is great, dude. It looks so good.
Yeah. He's just like, what the fuck, guys?
What's going on here? You're not blobbing enough.
That was Justice Haynes running in a touchdown there.
That's a lot of points for the other team.
Yeah.
I mean,
That
for
sure
real,
is.
that is just a good old fashioned ass beating. That is
Indeed it
wild
is.
stuff.
Slacking.
Yeah,
Indeed
for
it
real.
is.
For real. Well, hey, congratulations to Alabama. That's our team on this show. We root for Alabama here. I don't know. I don't have a dog in the fight.
You will.
I will eventually. All right. So let's go ahead, though, and move on to Bash in Berlin and talk about what happened there. Great show overall. Another international banger that WWE has put on here. What were, I guess, kind of highlighting some of our favorite matches from that one. Matt, what was yours if you had to pick one?
Yeah, so for me, the one thing I found myself kind of going back and watching it, and I just wanted to gush over was I really liked Cody and Kevin. Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Early on in the show, and this was one of those ones in the lead up, like I saw what they were doing. In the early days, I was like, when it was first like, Kevin, you're my friend. You deserve a title. It was a little just like corny, like baby, like
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It was just like, I get it. Kevin, he's amazing. He deserves a title shot in real life. But I was like, okay, it's just kind of a cliche baby story. Then as they went on, I think it got a little more interesting. The injury thing they were playing with on SmackDown leading up to Bash at Berlin and kind of leaning into what's Kevin going to do. And then I thought they did that. So I love stuff like that in matches. Like, really, like it's very, I know they play it up a lot with the whole idea. Like, I don't want to hurt him, the old holding the fist up, right? But I love the Shakespeare of those moments. That's what we like to call it, like those Shakespeare moments. It reminded me a little bit of a match I loved, which was Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton, Survivor Series 07.
Oh, that's a good one.
When Shawn was, and that wasn't as emotional, but the only thing was Shawn was forbidden from using Sweet Chin music. But it was but they made it full of these moments of Shawn going like boom, boom, and then and then fuck. He can't, like, catches himself. Randy counters. There's all these moments of like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't go to what I know. And this was like that, but with even more emotion, because it was like that inner bad guy of Kevin, and just seeing him fight. It was. I love all those moments of whether it was the knee, the powerbomb on the apron, and just like not doing it. And I love that because I love seeing those moments. It tells a very clear but very good story. And then I really think this is going to lead. I think we're still getting to a Kevin Owens, a little bit aggressive heel turn at some point, but I think this is a wonderful way to get there.
We kind of leaned into that a lot in the last episode, where we did feel like there was a possibility for either a Randy or a KO heel turn. Now, obviously, SmackDown hasn't happened yet. Only Monday Night Raw has since we recorded this. So there's still very much the opening for that. But I am glad that they didn't do it in the match, and they kind of let the match just be straight up,
And I think it's great because then you have that result, and let the character of Kevin stew. Yeah, like I could have like 3 times. I could have kicked him in the knee, hit the stunner, and maybe won. I could have thrown him into that post or whatever. Let that.
I could have done that apron power bomb, and I'd have the gold right now.
And there's, let people tell him like, no, man, you did the right thing. You'll get there, one day. You'll get back there one day, like that. Let me see those moments of Kevin going, fuck, one day, man.
Yeah,
you gotta bleep me.
It's gonna be bleep me. No, for real.
So bad.
I'm very, very excited to see where that goes.
For sure.
For me, the match that stood out was the strap match between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre.
Yep.
So, not because it was a good match, right? But the reason why it stood out for me is it was our most story-driven match of the entirety of the pay-per-view, right? Which I think like goes to show like how important like narrative is for these types of shows, like how you want to be able to, not just have everything be about the belt, but be about maybe something else. And that something else turned out to be a ridiculous bracelet, which I genuinely did not see coming.
It's not about the bracelet.
I know.
It's what the bracelet represents.
I understand that.
It's his heart. It's his soul.
It's so funny. It's genuinely so funny because like me and Jake were joking about how like it would come out and like be like, this match one falls for Larry and AJ's affection, and then like you're just holding the bracelet up above Charles Robinson's head. But then so what I liked about the match was that you had very physical, obviously. There he is. Hold on a second.
That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted.
That would be the ref.
That's all yeah. I mean, we're getting there eventually, man. It has to. Well, actually, no. Now we're not getting there because we could see the bracelet war came full circle on Monday Night Raw.
Boy, did it.
Because Drew came out, brutally attacked CM Punk for like the 1500th time. CM Punk, and I was thinking about this. Jake, how many times has CM Punk just been wheeled off from an assault in this? Because I feel like it's happened like 3 times.
Well, this is at least the second.
Twice, yeah.
At least
and
twice.
There might have been another one, yeah.
I feel like at some point, CM Punk, you, my friend, your insurance bills are very high. Like you need to.
The company covers that. Don't worry. I know from experience. It happens on TV. It happens part of work.
But at some point, they're going to have to start asking him to bring his own accident insurance or something like that, because he is just
you know, the company's premiums through the fucking roof just because of Bronson Reed. Like they saved a little money this week by him not being there.
That's true. That's true. Nearly cost them a lot of money though, because then Braun Strowman could have gotten hurt, and then that would have been even worse.
He did get hurt.
He did get hurt. Actually, he came out.
He was literally held together by KT tape. That was the only thing. Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, that was just, we'll discuss that in a sec, but that was just a very, very cool a moment there. But anyway, so yeah, that match was really cool. Going back to Bash in Berlin, which I realized I didn't have my topic bar up the entire time, but it didn't really matter. I did enjoy that match. Jake, what about for you? What was the match that stood out to you?
Main event. Yeah. The main event. The main event between Gunther, the Ring General, and Randy Orton, the Viper. This is, and I think Gunther even said it last night. This is the best version of Randy Orton we've gotten.
Yeah,
he is, and that is saying so much because the dude has been a clear-cut Hall of Famer for 15 years. I mean, like he's been incredible, but man, this just like the slow, methodical pace and like how it was two titans battling. I mean, it was such a fun watch. Just like they both had great moments. Boy, there were several times during that match where I was like, oh man, I think Randy might actually win this thing, because they were the stuff that they were doing where he was really working on that shoulder and that arm of Gunther, who had a gnarly bruise on that sucker minutes into the match. And like how they just really leaned into that. That's one thing that Gunther is so good about, is like, and you see this a lot from like the monster type heels of how like Brock was really good at it selling. They just can really sell. They know what this pain should feel like, and they can really sell it. And that's what's so great about Gunther, is Gunther's a little like, I mean, he's kind of like Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees. Like he's slow, he's methodical. You can damage him as much as he wants. He feels the pain, but it means nothing to him in the end, and it will not stop him. Will it slow him? Sure. Mm-hmm. But like because you had that moment of him trying to lift up Orton for that power bomb, and he couldn't do it. And he kicked out after that first power bomb, probably because he couldn't put as much as he wanted to into it. Then he counters out of the second one for an RKO. Man, it was just, it was a great match. I mean, it was 35 minutes of them beating the shit out of each other. And yeah, of course, you had that moment where Randy got chopped and just dropped a hard F, because how can you not? I did when he hit him. I was like, damn, that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it was such a great match. I mean, every match with Gunther, I mean, he's just like,
he's good, man.
He's a maestro. He's just an absolute maestro in the ring. And it doesn't matter who he faces. He elevates everyone. He brings the best out of everybody. He elevates everybody in the ring with him, and vice versa.
It looks like we're going to a little bit of a redemption arc here.
We're dipping back into the well.
We're dipping back into the well. Sami Zayn versus Gunther. It looks like it's going to be the next feud. Sami comes out basically saying, dog, I'm the only person who's beating you in this company.
Yeah.
So ipso facto, I should have a title shot. That's ipso
and
facto.
I love it.
That's
a great point. And we praised AEW for doing it with Jack Perry beating Bryanson, as I called him last week.
Bryanson. Yes.
But we saw that. Hey, I was the only one who pinned you. I deserve a shot at the title. It makes sense. It works. So 100%. Yeah. Put Sami in the title picture. I mean, the guys deserved it, both, outside the ring and in the ring. I think that's going to be another fun feud to watch.
Yeah, for sure. Now that wasn't the only show for WWE this weekend. We'll just dip our toes real quick into this. NXT No Mercy also took place, and we got to talk about it because famously, we have the guy who commentates all of Joe Hendry's matches on our show here, so we have to talk about this. But NXT No Mercy. First things first, I just want to say I just love the fact that like in the Shawn Michaels Triple H era of WWE, and they've been doing it for a while, but we haven't mentioned it. They're using those old names again, and it just makes me so happy. Even if it's not like No Mercy the pay-per-view. Still, No Mercy is great. Just to have that name come up again. Also, still the best wrestling video game of all time. But outside 100%. Of the fact, it's just too good. So, Matt, we had Zachary Wentz, right? Going over.
So we had.
Go for it.
No, it is. Two TNA talents in NXT this week. Joe Hendry obviously had his NXT title match, and both him and Zach Wentz also competed on our show Emergence, which was live on Friday. Mm-hmm. We did television on Saturday. Then those guys got on a plane and flew to Denver to compete on Sunday at No Mercy. So both of them, credit to them. Joe came up short with the shenanigans. There's not much more to say about that. I think Joe kind of was, his popularity obviously hot-shotted him kind of to that position. But I'd like to turn my attention to, again, we're talking about stories, and Zachary Wentz had a little bit of a peak to a bit of a redemption arc he's had over the last like 2 years or year and a half since rejoining TNA.
Yeah.
He's really grinded and kind of built himself back up, and he's a better wrestler. He's a better person. He's all these things. It's been very cool to see. And kicked ass in Ultimate X at Emergence, won the TNA X Division title, which is a huge accomplishment for him, and then brought that piece of hardware with him to NXT No Mercy, where he's been involved and embroiled with his boy Trey, and then of course their old friend Wes Lee. Classic betrayal storyline. Wes said, "Schluff off with you guys. I got to be about me." Mm-hmm. Very, it's very by rote, team member. Like I'm selfish now, right? I got to focus on me.
Yeah.
But it's great because these guys legitimately do go back years. Independence, TNA, NXT, tons of history, multiple companies all over the place. So to see that and Trey run in, pulling the chair out of his hand, that kind of like, you're not getting away with it like this. And then having the current X Division champion get a win on a top NXT guy on an NXT show. Again, just continuing to kind of make some historical moments here and have a really great weekend for Zach Wentz. And I say this a lot. There's a ton of like back and forth booking in wrestling. God, especially when you're going company to company, it's 50-50, we call it. Sometimes though, it's great to just see people go like on a streak. It's just like, Will Ospreay did it in AEW. It's just like, yeah, man, it's just their time to be winning shit. And Zachary Wentz, it's just one weekend, but had a really good weekend, capped off some really good stories. So it was very cool to see.
Well, now he's front and center in the X Division. So, that automatically is going to bring a lot of eyeballs, to him. And I do agree. It's really sick to see a story that, we constantly praise like the old Ring of Honor stuff and like how like, things like Sammy and KO kind of transcended companies, or, Ciampa and Gargano and NXT made its way over, right? Like there's so many like great rivalries that have new age rivalries, if you will, that have formed. But there are other ones as well that kind of like, I had no idea that Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz had like a history with Wes Lee. Like I was completely unawares of that, but NXT NA, this, weird combination is kind of like brought a lot of those opportunities to the forefront, for a new audience of fans, because I think NXT is about to enter, another like wild era. Like they're already in it, but like now with Julia being there and Delta on the way, and
boy,
like
that moment was awesome.
Yeah,
her debut, they handled that so well.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Julia does. I mean, Julia versus the Prodigy, Roxanne Perez. I mean, good God, she's an incredible talent. I mean, she's main roster bound 100%. So I'm excited for all that. It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of exciting stuff without a doubt. But when we come back, we are going to have a new segment. That's right, everyone. That's nothing crazy. I just made a graphic. We'll be right back. NFL Week 1 is here, and a new season means new ways to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Ready to place your first bet? I don't know, why don't you try betting on something simple, like picking the score of a touchdown. Or you could do this. First game of the season's this Thursday, and it brings you the Ravens visiting the Chiefs in Kansas City as 3-point underdogs. Then you got the Eagles. They're the 3-point favorites over the Packers in Friday's Bash in Brazil. And can CJ Stroud lead his 2.5 favorite Texans to victory over Anthony Richardson and the Colts? Well, that's on you to decide. And I totally knew everything I just said. Jake didn't write that for me. No, he never will. Ready to do a touchdown dance of your own? New customers who bet $5 get $250 in bonus bets instantly, and 1 month of NFL Plus Premium is included. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the best place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code COMBINE. That's code COMBINE for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 and get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium on us. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus Premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus Premium terms at nfl.com/terms. All right, everyone, welcome back to Rebooked. So we just recapped what happened at Bash in Berlin. We also talked about NXT No Mercy a little bit and what is to come. But I wanted to try something a little new today, right? Because I love all the random storylines in professional wrestling. And let me tell you, there are a lot of random ones. Okay. So what we're going to do is condense them all in a little segment that I like to call Storyline Watch. Dun, dun, dun. Now imagine there was music there and that there was like actually. No,
I think that's the music.
We didn't have to. You gave us whatever the hell that was. So
well,
that counts.
Firstly, I have the voice of an angel. That's number one. Number two, how could you? All right. I've worked so hard on this graphic. All right. First things first.
The graphic was great. What accompanied the graphic was.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah. Actually, we do have, that's the audio now. That actually will be the audio for the graphic. Okay, so Storyline Watch. What is it? Basically, there are a lot of great storylines in WWE, AEW, TNA, and we just don't have all the time in the world to catch them. But some of them have caught our attention. Not enough for us to dive into a full segment. But we figured, or at least I figured we're going to try it out. And if it doesn't work, then we just, move on because it's our show. We can do whatever the hell we want. So this week we are going to start things off talking about main event Jey Uso, who is currently in a really interesting story as it stands because his character arc has been, he's the most popular person in the company right now by far. He is organically very, very popular.
You think he's the most in the company? You think
right now? Oh, sorry, in Raw on Monday Night Raw.
You think?
Yeah, I think he is the most.
More than Rhea, more than Liv and Dom.
For male wrestlers, 100% number one. Okay. You can argue Rhea, dude. I mean, it's just. The reaction he gets every time he comes out.
The reaction is sick. Absolutely.
And they always have the shot. They're always putting him in the crowd. Like he's got a magnetic personality. Like the guy is great, right? Yes. But this week we saw a bit of a tease. We saw him get made face to face with Braun Breaker, who challenged him and was all like, my family, which again, me and Jake talked about last week. They're bringing this historical record back of, the Steiners versus the Samoans, like that whole era of wrestling. and they're redoing it here in a different way with like the next generation of the superstars here. And Braun Breaker says like, your family's never beaten my family, and that's never going to change. And
which apparently, according to one of our Discord members, shout out, join our Discord. You can join our discussion. Says not entirely accurate.
Oh, really? Really? Hold on. Where?
They're apparently, I believe, in our WWE discussion thread.
Okay.
One of our said there somewhere. Shout out to Balor the Brave. According, I have not fact checked this. The Head Shrinkers beat the Steiners 3 times in 2 days in 1993. According to the Cage Match Wrestling database, which is generally pretty good about keeping up with match results.
Okay.
So,
okay. I like that. Well, that's good. I mean, I see. Okay. But now, ultimately, right? Does WWE care about those things? I don't think they are going to care
old
that
WCW
much.
house show records, etc. No.
Yeah, they're not going to pay attention to that. That being said, though, I think that he's in a really interesting track right now, and we've all kind of just assumed that he's going to end up in this Survivor Series matchup with Roman, and that could very well be the case. But do we see gold in his future? And what would that be? Is it him going into an epic program with Braun Breaker, or is it him reigniting that rivalry that kind of got sparked a little bit with him and Gunther? Where do we see a guy like Jey Uso going?
Yeah, he's like, I feel like for the longest time, at least for all summer, I think probably since Mania, he's like the uncrowned prince. You know what I mean? It's, and the joke has been, it's an unfortunate joke, and because I don't really like it, but the idea is like, he's main event Jey Uso that never wins the main event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he will in tag matches and stuff like that, of course, but like when the title or when something like Money in the Bank or King of the Ring or whatever is on the line, they always go in a different direction. I think the Intercontinental title would be a great direction. I think he does kind of like LA Knight did before him. I think Jey Uso needs an attaboy a little bit. I think he does have an unreal connection with the crowd. I think IC title with everybody doing yeets and everything like that is a visual you're killing for.
Holding up the belt and yeeting. Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
And I don't mind digging into that. Well, again, literal record aside, the history of that family versus the Steiner, I think that is something to kind of at least just kind of glance off of.
Now, do you get a lot of movement with that? And Jake, go for it, I guess.
Well, no, go ahead and answer that, and I'll.
I don't think it's a focal point, but I think it's another added layer of nuance that just show that gives you a little bit more, a little bit more meat on the bone, just a little, like some skin. You put some skin on the chicken, right? You know what I mean?
My God,
it's a little flavor. It's not the meat, but it's a nice little bit of flavor that everybody enjoys.
Sure,
I love it.
Yeah, I get that.
Skin on the chicken.
Yeah.
We want meat to have a full meal. You gotta have meat.
True. Oh,
you're
man,
right.
Yeah. No, Jake, go on. Sorry, buddy.
Well, I was going to say one other route that you could go in the meantime, because I mean, we just put the title on Braun Breaker, so I don't feel like that's coming off of him anytime soon. And I hate for like to default to this, because I want to see Jey with the singles title as well. I really want to see him. He's earned it. He does have a great connection with the crowd, but there is one connection that he has right now that I could see pushing him in one direction, which is, he seems to have an awful tight bond now with Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
So what I could see happening is him partnering with Damian Priest to possibly take the Raw tag titles off of Judgment Day.
Yeah. Which is
currently has
that's
them.
a good place for him to go, honestly.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that post, because I mean, like,
it involves him in a bigger story,
and they just beat him.
Yeah.
On Raw. So I mean, one can make the assumption that this is where we're going to go for him in the future.
Right.
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 So, but that's just another
yeah.
tag title though for him.
I know
Jake.
it's just
Had a
another
lot of
tag title,
those,
but
yeah.
I know he's had a lot of those, but like it also, it keeps him on TV.
And it fits the story.
And it fits the story right now.
It very
Yeah.
much does.
Yeah. I wonder if they're gonna use that down the line. You know, like Jay can never like do anything other than win tag team gold.
You always got to, I mean, I think that's you always got to have somebody by your side, right? You always got to have somebody helping. You can't get shit done on your own.
Exactly.
But we're also doing that story with someone else right now, and I'm curious to see what, if anything, is going to happen with it after some recent developments. But Xavier Woods,
that's true,
is also in that predicament, and I still would love to see where that goes, and I still think if we, like I said, we don't really cover news, but the news is relevant to this story. Odyssey Jones is not on the roster on the WWE website anymore. So not much has been said about that. I'm not about to speculate, and neither are you two. But I'll just say this is I think that you can still accomplish that, because Kofi was talking to Adam Pearce, who again still has no grasp how to run a fucking television show.
He really doesn't. The man needs help.
He watched a man get almost murdered like for the past month. And the only thing that sidelines the guy is COVID. Like, Pierce, come on, man. You know what I think? I think conspiracy time. I think Pierce gave him COVID so that he didn't have to make a decision himself. So that it would it would take Bronson Reed out of the equation. And he doesn't have to make any hard decisions. Because Adam Pearce is a coward. You're a coward, Pierce.
You heard it here.
So
sorry. So realistically, though, I mean, can we maybe see something where, like, we continue this story with Woods and Kofi? Because I really do like where they're going. This is kind of like what this segment was meant for. It's stories like this that like have. Like I think of wrestling in a very weird way. Mm-hmm. I think of it as like main characters, right? Like you have your main characters, and then you have like your, I guess I don't know how to phrase supporting it without sounding, your supporting roles, right?
Yeah.
But even those supporting roles, like you have episodes of like The Office where like the supporting cast has like a spotlight episode, right? Or one character has a focus. So I feel like that is kind of like how it is, with WWE right now. And they're doing a really good job of like navigating that and interweaving stories in where they see fit. But this has been one of those stories that has just existed in its own little universe. And it has just been the Final Testament and New Day and whatever's been happening with them. Makes you wonder, right? Like, is there more meat on the bone here, or is this situation potentially going to blow it up? I don't know.
I mean, Xavier's another guy who I want to see him holding singles gold. I mean, it's, and if we were in AEW where there's 1,400 titles, like we probably
he'd be a champion,
but he'd definitely be a champion. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like, you want to see these guys get these opportunities, but you can't play hot potato with a title because then it loses its luster. It doesn't mean quite as much.
Too risky.
So I don't know. I don't know how you handle that. Like, but you want to keep them in the forefront. And if we are going down this pathway of a heel turn Xavier Woods, which I'm all for.
Yeah. Which I still think they should do.
Yes, I still think that they should do it. And I still think that you can. You can. You can have, so let's say they get that opportunity with the bloodline. They don't win, and just have Kofi take the pin or have something happen within that match. That
you got to get Big E out there, though, man. Big E's got to be involved in this in some way, in managerial front. Doesn't have to be a wrestler.
I guess, but the only thing though is if his music hits, everybody is gonna be hoping that he's getting in the ring, and from everything we've heard, he can't. I love that we're involving him in pre-show stuff, and I would love to see E out there in some capacity. But
no, it's true. But yeah, it's just like that's where the story, because like with Odyssey Jones, you created an interesting intersection between them, but now it's like you have to figure out how you make that
Well,
it shouldn't be that difficult, like you said.
Yeah, because still that wedge has been put in there.
Yeah.
We're not necessarily widening, but that can just be the start of it. Now, if Kofi's going over here trying to get matches, and Kofi's the one who ends up, letting them down in the match, boy, I mean, I can just see that pissing Woods off even more.
I did want to highlight one thing though, that I don't know if you guys noticed on Monday Night Raw, but there was a segment where Kofi was being interviewed. And then, or was talking to someone, and Gunther walked by.
Yeah, that was when he was talking to Pierce about, hey,
yeah.
Bloodline hadn't defended their shit, Judgment Day hadn't defended their shit in 2 months.
Yeah,
what are we doing?
I'm thinking that they're also doing a tease. Yes, that was just really interesting, like why they did it that way, and Kofi had the look like, oh man, singles gold will look real good on me right now,
Now,
so
could that be what divides New Day?
Could be, yeah.
Because
Kofi, you're a legend, and I get it, but why am I never getting these opportunities?
Yes,
it's always Kofi. It's always Wood. It's always Big E. It's never Woods. When is it my turn?
Especially under the guise, if we can assume, like, the characters of Kofi and Woods had the conversation. Hey, man, go to Pierce. Let's get a tag title shot. Yeah, man, I'm gonna go do that. I'll go do that. But
Kofi comes away
and
with
in the meantime,
yes.
his attention is dragged away. So like he actively, but kind of inadvertently, forgets the tag and goes into business for himself. And Woods can flip a script on that,
dude. Boys,
I hope that's the line.
I would like for that to happen. I feel like that little thing, that little detail from Monday Night Raw could maybe play out into something.
And they've shown us that those details are intentional.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not just happenstance. Like they've been very intentional about a lot of that stuff, which I love.
Well, you know what? I think that is a excellent place to end that there, because honestly, that again, these small storylines, and that could play into a much bigger role in the future, right? Because the question of who does Gunther face? He's going to face Sammy. He can take out an overambitious Kofi Kingston that then creates the domino effect of the destruction of New Day, right? With the assistance of the Final Testament and Karrion Kross and stuff. You have a lot of directions you can go there. You have Sammy right now challenging Gunther for the title. That could potentially be, a tipping point for a lot of different directions too. Like there are so many unique things that they can handle, that they can have here. And I'm freaking stoked. So
hell yeah.
We'll see, of course, where that happens. And if you guys have any storylines that you want us to talk about, let us know in the comments down below. We want to hear from you, whether it's on Spotify, whether it's on YouTube. Just go ahead. What storylines in professional wrestling have piqued your interest? And we would love to talk about it, but also dive further into it, kind of like what we just did. Because I feel like once the three of us get cooking on something, we see things and then we build the story. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move forward to All Out, because we have, another pay-per-view that's just happening this week. All Out, All In just took place, but now we have All Out. We have the matches. Everything's laid out here. There are some, I would say there are some appealing matches on here, and I kind of hope that they just keep it like this, like with this card. Let me go ahead and share it with you guys. So you got first things first, MJF Daniel Garcia. That is going to be an excellent blood feud that has been built up over the course of a last few months now. I actually do think that this match is going to be a heater, and it's going to be very, very good. And there's a great story going into this matchup of just pure vengeance, pure bloodshed. How do we feel this lands, fellas? Matt, do you think Danny Garcia picks up the win over MJF?
I don't. I think MJF, that's part of, I just literally talked about it a few minutes ago, the 50-50 booking, but I think you do want your MJF to be strong. He just came off a big loss. So I think he gets, right now there's no stipulation on it. So I think he does, maybe gets his ring back. I don't think it's the first and last match. I think it's the first of maybe at least 2. So I think maybe MJF does his crummy ways, shenanigans abound, really good match in the meantime, and then picks up the win in a really crummy fashion. And I think maybe at the next big pay-per-view, they would that be Full Gear? Would that
I
be
believe
the next
so.
kind of big pay-per-view for AEW? Then I think maybe Garcia gets a big win back. You know, I think eventually you do put Garcia over a big guy like MJF, but I think this is the start of like
the start of the story
of their feud proper. Like you said, it's the groundwork's been laid, which has been great, but this is the kickoff of the proper one-on-one feud.
And I got to commend them for the way that they built this too, Jake, because it's been very methodical.
Yeah,
they have not rushed this.
It's been one of these breadcrumb storylines, kind of, where just a little something happens every now and then, and now we're having the big payoff for it, and I like that a lot. I would put Garcia over if I were booking this one.
Oh, really?
I like the idea. I think he's got a little momentum. Let's give him a little more, and I like the idea of we've never really seen MJF struggle. And I like the idea of him becoming absolutely unhinged because he goes on a losing streak. He just lost his title. Now he loses to Daniel Garcia. And if you thought he was dangerous before because the shit that he would pull, what is going to happen if we get a desperate MJF who just wants to continue making Daniel Garcia's life a living hell? Because to me, just thinking about MJF's mindset and the character of MJF, he beats Garcia, he's done with it. He's done. I don't give a shit. I proved I'm better than you. I don't care. Point. We're not moving on. I mean, like there's nothing else here. There's no more story as far as I'm concerned. If I'm MJF, I'm going on to bigger and better shit.
Unless he cheats, which is the very possible thing, right? Because then Daniel Garcia has like the reasoning to continue the feud. But I don't disagree.
But I would also love to see Daniel Garcia cheat.
Yeah,
I think it would be fun if it was like MJF tries to cheat, tries to win the match, doesn't work. And Garcia says, "Fuck it, I'm going to fight fire with fire," and he cheats, beats MJF, and then MJF is mad. Well, he cheated in the match. He cheated, like it was not a clean, and him just like, "Am I the only person? Who cares that this man cheated?" Like, I would love to see something like that of just MJF becoming completely unhinged because for once things are not going his way. And I think that would be a really cool way for this.
Jake, you are cooking. You are on fire this episode, bro, because that is something that I would gladly sink my teeth into. It works perfectly for the character arc of MJF, like from being the insecure, cocky asshole who put stooges in the way of his opponents so that he could, take them out, to the MJF who fought his childhood hero in CM Punk and wanted to get the better of him there as well. A guy who really had to just conquer a lot of his like demons along the way, opened his heart up to a friend. That friend turned on him. That then just collapsed completely. And then he like comes back and he not only shoves that guy aside, but then realizes that the audience moved on from him too.
Oh yeah. And now he's denounced his country and his heritage. The man's losing it. What would make him go over the edge more than dropping one to Daniel Garcia?
Oh, dude. I'm in. That would be excellent. That would be utterly excellent. All right. Well, nothing really there for me to add on that. That was brilliant. All right. Our next match here, we'll run through this one really quickly. Graphic is a little funky, so sorry about that. But Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander. This is one of those that has just been going on for like a super long time now. And it is been a solid feud. These two have great chemistry in the ring. The matches are always great. I'm expecting, though, that Willow wins this and we can kind of just like move on. I think, although I don't really know what happens with Chris Statlander after this. So something's got to give in this one. So one way or another, this has to end here and now, because this will be like the 4th time that they've fought in some capacity. So I'm ready to just like move on from it. And I'm sure they are ready to move on from it as well, because there's always going to be more things to do. Speaking of moving on to some big matches, our next one here, this one's just going to be a banger. There's not really much else to talk about it.
I don't care who wins this one.
I
just want to see
Go
this
nuts,
match.
boys.
Yeah, have at it.
Quite frankly, I don't give a fuck. You can do whatever you want, boys. Just make sure you can get up in the morning. That's really it, because outside of that, this match is going to be absolute insanity, top to bottom. Jake, we're going to get all the flippy shit that you could possibly ask for.
No fists, all flips. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be such a fun match. I mean, Pac's way overdue for a big singles title. I don't think Ospreay's gonna drop it just a couple of weeks later, because like we talked about last week, I think what we're probably going to be building toward is giving Ricochet his first title shot against Ospreay, which I assume would also come at Full Gear. But we do have to build him up and get him some more wins.
I see something with the trios titles here happening, though. I could see whoever, I don't think Pac loses this one in a clean fashion. I think this is just going to be a potential setup for whatever the trios feud will be. Which, who would that be with? I would assume Patriarchy, if they want to keep chasing after those belts.
I guess, but doesn't it kind of feel like we've moved on? If Christian, because think about it, it's like, it's not what the Patriarchy wants, it's what Christian wants.
That's true.
Christian has an opportunity to win this
that's
the title
right.
now.
Christian has the world title opportunity. I completely forgot about that.
I think he doesn't give a shit, because he doesn't care if anybody else in the Patriarchy has gold. He wants it. Now he has his opportunity, so he's moved on to that. So I don't think it's them anymore. I don't know. I don't know who I would put in there, though.
Yeah, I really don't know how this plays out. Matt, do you have any ideas?
I mean, they've got a couple. They're trying to. It's.
Do we have the Acclaimed? Did they Acclaimed? I mean, since
the
they
Acclaimed
lost,
could go back into that thing. I mean, you've got the conglomeration. You've got the what is this? The Kingdom. I forget what they're calling themselves now.
Yeah. Undisputed
Kingdom.
Yeah.
And they've all had the Bang Bang Gang. They've all had some interaction this week on the shows and stuff like that. So, I mean, but it's all, no, there's nothing like, oh, we're going here. It's just like, I don't know, somebody's going to step up, win a number one contender match. And
on a semi-related note, I'd love to see the Acclaim turn heel.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I think that would be a refreshing reset for them. I still think they would be so fun to watch. Max Caster comes out talking shit about whatever city that they're in. I think that would be a lot of fun, and it just kind of mixes things up a little bit. I think if they're just kind of maybe even kind of tweeners to a degree, but just like we've seen this attitude change of them of like, no, I want to fight. We saw that when we were doing Blood and Guts, where it was like, no, I want to get in there, I want to fight. It's not just about, being cool and whatever anymore. Like, I'm ready to fight. I want championships back. And if we just see this new gear in them kind of flip a switch a little bit and just be like, you know what? We just need to do whatever the hell we can to get gold back.
Yeah.
And then you could, maybe even see an interesting thing of like, you could have something with Billy Gunn and being like, guys, like, look, I'm all for, like, I love that we're going after titles, but I've been down this path before and I don't know. You see a little, maybe a little dissension in the ranks within the Acclaimed, and I don't know, we could just do some kind of fun storyline with that. But I think they need they need to push in a different direction a little bit. And I like the idea of them turning heel. I
agree. Anything you want to add there, Matt?
No, I 100% agree with that. Yeah. I think they could use a good reset. I think it's a perfect way to do it.
Yeah, now this next one, the graphics a little blurry, but you can make out the image, so don't worry about it. But it's going to be Mercedes Moné versus Hikaru Shida for the TBS Championship. This one just came
Next.
about. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hikaru Shida won this match on Collision, a qualifying match. I don't think Hikaru Shida wins this. Would I love it? Yes, because Hikaru Shida is awesome. She hasn't held the TBS championship, but Mercedes Moné is just, she's just lights out right now. No real reason to focus on that. Next one that we have here, a good matchup that we are all very, very excited for. And this is, of course, going to be our steel cage match between Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page. Oh boy, this one is going to be, also check out the graphic here.
That's
Hangman just looks like
Very
a
cool.
fucking insane person.
Those eyes.
Those eyes. And then Swerve out here is like a Mortal Kombat character. These guys just want to murder each other. So anyway, so these guys are going
Hangman's
to murder each
picture
other.
looks like you'd find it in a portrait in an old haunted mansion. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's one of those pictures where it's like, I think its eyes are following me no matter
Following
where.
me.
Yeah, like literally just kind of move around. He's looking at you wherever you move. It's very uncomfortable.
It's like the painting from Ghostbusters, remember?
Yes,
It's
yeah.
just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
It's so good. Guys, this matchup's gonna bang, plain and simple. The storyline has been immaculately set up for this one. It is interesting that we're going back to it, but I
With
think
no
ultimately
title.
with no title, but guys, it's good every time. They've never been in a steel cage before. These two guys have just been wanting to murder each other. This is the blood feud of AEW.
They feel
Plain and
like
simple.
that they're just going to be kind of like Rock and Austin of like they're just going to be forever enemies.
Yeah.
They're just going
Is it a movie? What's the We're Destined to Do This Forever? Is that the Joker?
Yeah, Joker and the
Oh,
Batman.
yeah,
me and
something
you,
tells me
I
where-
feel like we're
Yeah.
destined to do this forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 100% what these two are. And I'm here for it. It's just one of those things where it's like, you know what? What do we do this week? I don't know. Just have Hangman and Swerve beat the shit out of each other. Okay.
Yeah.
4-star match. Easy.
It'll always work.
I mean,
Yeah.
you just old
Hey, look,
faithful.
The story does lean into it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Hangman played it a little bit of a role in Swerve losing his title.
Mhm.
Swerve obviously has had enough of Hangman. Hangman has felt like he's the crazy one because he knows that this man is evil and has done evil things, and he is his redemption. So it's just like, all this stuff that they've built upon for the last 2 years or so. And there's no title on the line here, so you still have more to eke out of this feud, which is crazy. But this should be, like you guys said, a 4-star match. Not a question on my mind. 5-star maybe, it could, they're that good
Who
that it
knows?
could
Yeah.
be. But I think after they've done this so many times now, there's only so much they can do here. So where does the story go after this? I think is going to be the more fascinating part.
Yes.
Of All Out, because in a very unique turn of events that no one really saw coming. Not just because Bryan Danielson is the champion, but because he was challenged by the TNT champion, Jack Perry, who we were talking about valid justifications like Sami Zayn had for Gunther. Jack Perry had a valid justification for challenging Bryanson, as we have so lovingly called him.
Yeah.
Because he beat Bryan Danielson middle of the ring with a knee.
Yep.
In blood and guts. So he's like, I have every right to challenge you because I've beaten you. And he's the TNT champion, which also gives him a little bit of extra leeway. And he's buddy with the Elite. But this, Matt, this is I again did not see this one coming in the slightest, but I'm not mad that it's here.
No, it fits. It was a little out of nowhere, which kind of perfect. And but between the justified, like, hey, I got a pinfall over you, I can kind of use that as justification. On top of, as we've talked about before, there has been a clear, rising part of the roller coaster for Jack Perry recently.
Yeah.
Between coming back and joining the Elite, being a focal point of there, winning the TNT title, beating the Coffin Kid in the Coffin match, dominantly, may I say as well, at All In. He's been given some key victories, a title, like they're on a momentum, but I don't think he's winning it, the world title that is, but I think it fits.
Yeah.
And if it's an easy way to get yourself a world title match with no build proper, because there's no like long-term story between Jack and Danielson. But with all that justification, and with also Danielson talking about, that's an interesting position to be in too, as the world champion. Danielson has been very public about, I am pretty much done, right? And and is also now, since he won, been like public, like, I'm probably gonna, whenever I lose this, is gonna be the sun setting.
Yeah.
And so in a way, you're a lion who's just shown the hyenas your wound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not that it was hidden before, but it's just like, I'm broken down a little bit. I'm hanging on, and I'm a fighting MFer, but I'm hanging on by a thread. And so that is a vulnerable champion. That is a vulnerable target. And a hyena is probably the perfect analogy for someone like Jack Perry. You know what I mean? Fast, violent, and opportunistic.
Yeah.
It fits. So I think it's a really good, it's probably the best you can do without having a 4 or 5 week build. You know what I mean? Is have these two. So I'm interested to see Jack Perry operate in a one-on-one world title main event match.
Yeah. And we know that he is gonna be good for a high quality clash, right? We know that like this is gonna be a great match. I just think it's pretty wild that like we're doing it kind of already. Not already, but I feel it's weird that we're doing it while he's TNT champion. But the thing is, they've never done this before. So it's okay, because this is kind of like a new territory here for AEW. They've never really had a challenging champion or a sitting champion go up against a world champion like from the TNT champion side. The only one recently was Will Ospreay as the international champion, which that, you could say like, hey, we've already done this, but that was like a good guy who won a competition. He won like a casino gauntlet match. It fed into the story of Will Ospreay being perfect. And all this kind of like led into it, right? Like whatever Will was in, he won. This time around, Jack Perry just comes out and he's like, no, I'm calling my shot. I'm challenging you. I beat you once. I could do this again. Yeah. I love it. I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be a great show. And looking at the card as it stands right now, like pulling up the graphic again, honestly, keep it to this.
I think
keep it to this. You do not need any more than that.
Give yourself one pre-show match, and then that's it. And then
tell a good story with if you want to add maybe one tag team match, like to make it 7. I could see realistically do that. But what do you do? I don't really know. What is worthy of the card? I'm not too certain. I want them to.
And also, you got to answer that now if you're going to do that. Yeah. Don't just throw another matchup just for the sake of having another match on
Dynamite.
Something's going to happen on Dynamite that's going to lead to a tag team match. Again, I wouldn't be. You're missing a lot of people that folks do genuinely want to pay money to watch. So like, I think like the Conglomeration versus Bang Bang Gang or something like that.
FTR Grizzled Young Vets could be thrown on there.
FTR Grizzled Young Vets could be a great matchup to put on here, especially because All Out's coming across as much more like, I don't know,
backlash.
like a backlash type of card here.
Payback. Yeah.
So I think that there's going to be some interesting elements. So yeah, we'll be, of course, keeping tabs on that. We'll talk about what happened in All Out next week. And on top of that, what took place in SmackDown, as well as, also Monday Night Raw. There's going to be a lot of things. We're going to mostly preview like the setup, what we should be expecting post All Out, and then moving in to, what's been going on with Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. So yeah, we'll go ahead and call it there. I mean, there's obviously going to be so much to talk about, but, given what we've gotten this week and the fact that our episode came out on Friday, and then we were leading into a lot of wrestling during the weekend, we figured we'd keep it a little bit more condensed here. But that leads us to everyone's favorite segment. You already know what it is. This is our Rebooked 24. Wait a minute, I have a reverb thing for it. Oh, never mind, not anymore. Wait, 24/7 champion of the week. That's right.
I love it.
I shifted over to the Go XLR, and so now that little piece of hardware is a beast. All right, so I have one that I'm really excited for, and I'm gonna save it for the end.
He's booking himself in the main event, boys.
I'm booking myself in the main event. I know, but man, it is so funny.
Okay.
So we'll start. Who wants to go first here? Who wants to go first?
I'll start because I have a little bit more of a subdued one.
Okay.
I had a kind of a funny one, but I didn't think it was that funny. So no, this one I just real simple. I'm gonna give a shout out to and my nomination to Joe Tessitore. I thought he did really good. I thought he was slotted in very, very well. It's not easy. We've seen a lot of guys come over from sports or MMA and stuff like, and kind of flounder or be kind of iffy. At best, they did like okay. And I thought he had a really good, strong showing the first night.
Yeah,
I love Joe Tessitore.
You guys, you know him better than obviously
for years
from
from college football, and like when I heard that he was coming, because first of all, he just has a great.
He's got a great
voice.
broadcaster.
I mean, he's got
voice.
an incredible voice.
Yes,
and man, he just like he loves painting a picture with words, and he did that. He did that so well in the opening, and like I thought he was fantastic. I love.
And there's little things he did that I have to imagine was a lot of work with people like Michael Cole and everything ahead of time, is because a lot of these guys, when they come from sports, I do feel like they do have a little bit more of a rhythm, and it's kind of like that race guy thing. They kind of sit a little bit more of kind of a monotonous tone, and like with wrestling being so dynamic, they often will just be like they stay in that one note. But he was really rising with and like what we call like emphasizing impact, like when people got hit, and oh my god, rising with the moment. He was with those emotional,
which he got,
and those physical rides,
which he's gotten from calling football games. And I mean, the dude can make a first down sound like it's the most important play that's ever happened,
yes, which is huge.
And he just he was so fantastic in that. And I think like once he really settles in and gets comfortable, man, I think he's going to be killer. He was fantastic. I know he's a fan. Like that's what makes it even better, right?
You can tell.
That was, I mean, it's given me flashes of Morrow. Like I loved when Morrow was announcing.
I had a different take on it. I wasn't that crazy about it.
Oh, fuck off, GB. No, I'm just joking.
because I'm not too familiar with Joe Tessitore.
I'm not either at all.
But the reason why was so like, and maybe, and again, this is going to be a thing that I'm sure like over time he'll pick up a bit more, but the live calling of matches was not particularly my cup of tea. Mm-hmm. I didn't really feel like he had a good grasp of what was happening and when matches were ending. Like there was one moment, especially in the Ilya Dragunov match, where he hit him, with
looked like it was a shoulder.
Yeah. And that was like his move right at the end there. Yeah. I know it's like a name that's drawn, not sticking to me right now. So obviously if he's not sticking to me, but I'm also not hired by WWE. I'm just an asshole talking on the internet. So like, I feel those things, I mean, I doubt it'll ever happen, but I feel like those things, I'm a little surprised that, like those things were kind of missed, or like the timings were a little weird. Wade Barrett was doing a good amount of the picture painting throughout a majority of the show. I'm not trying to yuck on anyone's yum here, because I know a lot of people are a big fan of Joe Tessitore, but it definitely did not feel like Morrow to me. Morrow was a gem. Morrow was special. Morrow came into it understanding maneuvers, understanding match flow. Like he had such a great pace about him, whereas Joe Tessitore had this sports pedigree to him that Morrow also had. Right. So I guess in that regard, yes, I do. I mostly agree.
Mean the energy.
Yeah. He was lovely. I mean, you can definitely tell he was having a time of his life up there, and I'm really happy for the guy. But it's just like for me, I'm looking for something a little bit different in my commentary, and there were some moments for sure.
You want more
that
steak
needed
than
a little
sizzle.
bit more spank on it, a little bit more stank. You know, I put a little bit more get up in that.
No
Not
one's
spank, but
ever
stank.
needed more
Not
spank
stank.
on anything.
Not spank, but
Definitely
stank.
said spank.
I did say spank, but I meant to say stank. But the point is, sometimes you need some more stank on it, and hopefully Joe Tessitore gets that stank. All right, but overall though, I like that nomination. All right, that was Jake, right? Or was that no? It was Matt.
That was
Jake.
Matt.
What's yours? What's your Rebook 24/7 champion?
For me, it's Kairi Sane.
Oh yeah, dude!
Holy shit!
Crap.
She face planted on the corner of the announce table, and just came away and was smearing the blood on her face after the end of the match, like trying to intimidate. I mean, and it was like, that was wild, man. That was incredible. She is legitimately insane. She's great.
Yeah,
she's
Kairi
tough
Sane.
as hell. And man, that was wild to see. It was wild to see her do, and then wild to see her, like I said, just get up for the aftermatch, interaction, and just rubbing that blood across her face.
She's badass.
I'm trying to find the image of it because I know WWE Fightful had tweeted it out. But man, that was absolutely, I can't seem to find it here. That was a gnarly.
Her whole eye was red. It was bleeding. I mean, whoo.
Oh, yeah, well, maybe best we don't show it. But yeah, that was wild. But yeah, Kairi Sane, she definitely is hardcore. Okay, I like that one too. Mine, oh man, mine is just something funny that happened in Monday Night Raw. So here I am, just being a little guy, hitting my pen, just chilling,
sure.
Right? And I see this promo between Jey Uso and Braun Breaker. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, this was like good. It was intense. We talked about it a little bit. But his face coming out of that camera shot, he is seething in such a way. Now they cut it here, but go back. If you get a chance, go back and watch it. They stay on Braun Breaker's face for so long that he's just like, he's like seething. And then out of nowhere, this wad of spit just flies out of his mouth. And they stay on the camera shot the whole time. And I am just fucking floored because I'm like, you think that it ends here, but no, he goes even more intense. Like, I don't know what the objective was here, but my God, it made me bust out because I think he was chewing on something. So like, I think it may have been tobacco or something. So like the spit came out and it was like brown. So it just looked even worse.
Oh, he had a dip in, sounds like.
He had a dip. Oh my God. It was absolutely hilarious, and I couldn't believe that they stayed.
So your 24/7 champion is Zen,
Braun Breaker's,
so that you don't have to spit. So you don't have to.
A man's
24/7 champion is Zen, so you don't have the brown spit coming out anymore.
Wow, that was so funny. I just thought. I was like, they really committed to that camera shot for the entire time. Go back and watch it. If you get a moment, I hope Scan can find it and cut it in the edit. It was just too funny. It was too funny. But man, this was a tough one this week. You know what? Look, even though it wasn't my cup of tea, I'm willing to give it to Joe Tessitore. If you guys want to give
I'm
going to
give it to Joe Tessitore.
You want to give it to Joe?
I just like him just going, that's Drew McIntyre in a hoodie. I love that. That was genuinely funny. That was so refreshing to me.
That was not like singing the mask.
Who is this? I mean? Who is the guy doing the what? How dare? Who is this? No, he's like, that's Drew McIntyre in a hoodie. What are we like? I just loved that. I thought it was so refreshing. I want
Joe to continue to just be an outside individual.
Yes.
Just like commenting on the insane thing that happens. Yeah. He's like, what is going on here? That is someone in a clown costume, like it just calls it what it is. Because I think like even when CM Punk came out, he even said, he's like, And this crowd right now is anticipating something really big. Yeah, no shit, Joe. You see it in the run of show. CM Punk's coming out, man. But I thought that was like a really funny moment where he was just like calling it as he sees it.
Yeah.
Continue to be that
it.
guy, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be that guy. I would say that was the thing that I really enjoyed when I did it. So like, you know, just be an outsider and
it's a
lean
different
into
perspective.
it. Yeah.
Because that's also the thing. Like you also want one of the commentators to be, you know, to say what the audience is thinking and what they're feeling.
Yes.
You want someone to represent them, you know, and to bring
Pat
in those
McAfee
people.
was that before,
Sure,
and now they're leaning into that, but from the play-by-play side with Joe Tessitore.
and that's what you try to do with play-by-play and, you know, and color commentating anyway. Your color guy is the one who's been in the mix, who knows. You know, Matt's former wrestler. That's why he does color commentary. Same with Wade. Same with Corey. You know, that's why they typically do those. And you have your play-by-play guy paint this picture and tell this story, and the color guy tell you why it matters. And I think that's you know, a fun dynamic seeing him just kind of play the role of the audience member and being like, that's Drew McIntyre in a mask. I don't know. I just love that moment.
That was a great moment. That was genuinely a top-notch one. All right, well, Joe, you win. Congratulations. I look forward to seeing your continued development as a commentator on Monday Night Raw. But that is going to do it for us here today. We thank you so much for tuning in. We had a blast making this.
Look at us coming in around an hour.
Yeah, look at us. We're doing it. We're getting there, guys. But yeah, so long story short, go ahead, check us out on Discord. Go ahead and join us over there. You can subscribe on YouTube as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you decide to get your goodness. And you can see it down below. Follow us at Rebook Pod on all social media platforms to get up to date on when new episodes drop. And hopefully we could start using, you know, I was thinking about using the Rebooked account to just like reply to pay-per-views and stuff like that. Just be like, oh, wow, that's a crazy moment. I don't know.
I thought about doing that, having some Uncle Jake's Fireside Chats after.
Oh, we got it. Uncle Jake Fireside Chats, 100%. All the good stuff. Make sure you follow us on there, and we'll catch you next week for another installment where we're going to be covering All Out and all the latest developments in WWE, AEW, TNA, and more. We'll see you then, folks. Take it easy. Peace.